And I have the pleasure to give the floor to the distinguished representative of Pakistan on the same item.
Thank you, Mr. President. We commend the efforts of Mr. Jane Talas for ably steering the extremely challenging session of the Fifth Committee. We thank him for his leadership. My delegation recognizes the sterling leadership, wisdom, and negotiating skills of Ambassador Sacha Laurenti, the distinguished chairman of the Group of 77 in China. We also thank the partners for engaging the Group of 77 and stepping forward to increase the reimbursement rates despite their financial constraints. What we can all celebrate is that despite different perspectives, all sides worked resolutely to explore common ground and to keep the peacekeeping partnership intact and strong. What matters at the end is that the spirit and tradition of consensus prevailed. Our Fifth Committee experts deserve a tribute for their professionalism, hard work, and tenacity of purpose. We are grateful to the Secretary General for his intercession and outreach. And we thank Madam Susanna Malkura for walking the extra mile to forge consensus and for averting a drift towards ad hocry, which the entire membership did not want. Mr. President, in view of the increasing complexity and demands of UN peacekeeping operations, the Group of 77 in China has long argued for an increase in the reimbursement rate for costs incurred by troop and police contributing countries in deploying their forces to United Nations peacekeeping missions. The reimbursement rate was last revised in 1992. Since then, it has remained a vexing issue for the General Assembly and for the United Nations. The rate has now been revised. This is a step in the right direction. Our partners, the major fund contributors, always, and I would like to add, rightly, insisted that any fruitful conversation on the rate increase could take place if there is an empirical evidence to justify such an increase in reimbursement rates. We needed data for the required empirical evidence and for determining common denominator for increase in the reimbursement rates. The Senior Advisory Group, established in 2012, gave us the necessary framework and a common denominator. The SAG report had made 3 key recommendations. 1, the typical rotation period be set at 12 months. 2, a proportional reduction be made to personnel reimbursement to troop or police contributing countries in the case of absent or non-functional major equipment. And 3, to provide fair and equitable compensation to the TCCs, a survey be conducted so that a decision could be made on factual basis, grounded in the reality of the actual costs incurred. Last year, we agreed with the SAG report. It was a difficult decision for us. We assumed costly obligations. In pursuance of the 3rd recommendation, a professional survey was conducted on the basis of a scientific methodology. The survey report clearly recognizes US dollars 1,762.55 per contingent person per person per month as the actual weighted average cost of TCCs. The figure is authentic and credible. It should remain an indicative parameter for the next 4 years. We are glad that the resolution adopted today welcomes the Secretary General's report on the results of the revised survey. Mr. President, we express satisfaction that the reimbursement rates have been revised and increased formally for the first time since 1992. We have broken new ground despite divergences and constraints. And despite the limitations of the outcome, our decision today is a net gain for peacekeeping and the organization. But we must continue to review reimbursement rates periodically to align them with actual costs incurred, both tangible and intangible. This, we hope, will be done in 4 years from now. Finally, Mr. President, Pakistan reiterates its strong commitment to United Nations peacekeeping. International peacekeeping, under the auspices of the United Nations, is a cornerstone of Pakistan's foreign policy. I thank you, Mr. President.
I thank the distinguished permanent representative of Pakistan for his statement following the General Assembly's adoption of the 4 resolutions under Agenda Item 147.